Hi everyone, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks, and today I'm going to be featuring a replay from a vehicle that just frankly shouldn't exist in the game. This is the Tier 3 French Premium Tank Destroyer. It's the FCM 36 Pack 40. So today, our hero or our villain, depending on which team you're on or the way that you look at this vehicle, is Stredny from the European server. So this tank has been in the game for the longest of periods, and I've never actually featured it on my YouTube channel because it's always one of those tanks that's just so unbelievably disgusting that I never wanted to grace the channel with its presence. However, I think it's about time after seeing this game and truly showing what the FCM 30 Pack 40 or 36 Pack 40 is all about, that it's time to have its showcase, and I can finally start to vent a little bit about this vehicle and just the whole idea of vehicles like this existing inside World of Tanks. The FCM 36 Pack 40 is one of those tanks that is from a time that is now lost inside World of Tanks. This vehicle comes from a time where wargaming used to try and figure out what view ranges tanks would have by how easy it was for the commander to access the top of the vehicle. And so unsurprisingly, a vehicle like this, with a complete open top, it would be super easy for the commander to be able to have a great vision across the entire battlefield. And from a theory perspective, that it kind of makes sense inside the game. And so you get an idea from a historical idea of what wargaming were going for when they were creating view ranges on different tanks. Wargaming also back in the day allowed tank destroyers to have way better view range than they do now. Wargaming removed a lot of the view range from all of the low tier tank destroyers because they were just too efficient at doing exactly what you see the FCM 36 Pack 40 doing here. And that is just sitting in a position, shooting at tanks that just can't see them. This vehicle has 400 meters base view range. And Stredny here is most likely using coated optics, not even using binoculars. And by adding on a premium consumable, this vehicle is reaching the spotting distance cap of 445 meters. To put that into perspective, every single vehicle on the enemy team, apart from the FCM 36 Pack 40 that is, even with binoculars, which require you to sit still for several seconds, and a 100% crew, maybe even skills like Brothers in Arms, situational awareness, a recon, that kind of stuff, and maybe even a premium consumable, are not going to be able to get up to the level of view range where they have a hope of being able to spot this tank at decent distances. And considering the vehicle's camera rating is not even really that bad, when it's sitting still, it's got an 11% base camera rating that I'm sure that if Stredny has a good French tank destroyer crew that he's going to be able to get up to probably around the 25 mark on this tank, even without a camo net, then you're starting to see why this tank can literally sit in the most open position right in the middle of Lakeville and just absolutely trash tank after tank after tank. And look, Stredny isn't doing anything wrong in this vehicle. That's exactly what this tank is meant to do. Just sit in a position, try and keep its opponents about 200 or 250 meters or more away from it, and just rain round after round after round on the enemy team. 2,200 damage with that ammo rack against that T-29 is ridiculous for what a tier 3 tank is able to do. Now, what's bizarre is that this vehicle has more view range than some tier 10 light tanks. The T100LT has 390 meters base view range. This vehicle is packing 400. Here's what really annoys me about this tank and wargaming's policies, is that when wargaming effectively nerfed the view range of all of the tank destroyers, and when wargaming decided to change their theory about view ranges on tanks so that open top tanks didn't have so much better view range than all other vehicles, that of course they didn't change it for a premium tank. Because since wargaming's policy of not nerfing premium tanks at all, since the Type 59 and the Super Pershing escapades, where they actually had the confidence to nerf those tanks and offer players refunds if they wanted to with the tanks, wargaming is just impotent when it comes to making all important changes to their game with regards to the balancing of premium vehicles. And so the FCM 36 Pack 40, it was available in the tech tree, purchasable for gold, right up until the update 9.7. And we're talking about 2015 here, I believe, where it was actually removed from the shop and you could no longer get it. But I believe that Wargaming still try and sell this thing when they really need some cash, I guess, inside the gift store for, I don't know, $5, $10, or maybe they just add it to a sweetener if you go and purchase a $50 gold bundle. The funny thing about this tank is it's one of those vehicles that's just completely toxic for everyone involved, I feel. It's horrible for the enemy team. It's horrible for the players on this tank's team as well, because it sits at the back and kind of just hoovers up all the damage. But I honestly think that it's also toxic for the players who play the vehicle. And that's because its gameplay is just so dull, so unbelievably dull. It's got a power-to-weight ratio of less than 7, a top speed limit of 24 kilometers an hour, limited to its reverse speed of 10 kilometers an hour as well. This is probably one of the least interesting tanks to play in the game, outside of having one of these dream scenarios where you get to sit in the middle of the map and blow the turrets off tanks, and then you look like a crazy hero, right? 3,600 damage that Stredny is up to now in this game. If I was in a tier 8 tank destroyer, I would have thought this was a pretty good round, let alone a tier 3 one. Now look, this isn't the norm for this vehicle. More often than not, somebody's going to YOLO scout you, and then he's going to light you up for their team, or alternatively an artillery shell might even grace you with their presence, or maybe you're just too slow to actually be able to get into position before your entire team has rolled over and you're not able to get 8 kills like Stredny has managed to be able to achieve in this game. And so I hate playing this vehicle. It's probably one of my least favorite tanks to play in the game, because you're playing a vehicle that is clearly overpowered in many regards, and you just have absolutely no other statistics available to really feel that you get involved in the game. Talk about getting involved in the game. The Chiha was trying to get away there, maybe expecting the FCM 36 Pack 40 to be making their way towards the middle, but Stredny with the 400 meters base view range, probably pumping up to about the 450 mark, is able to get a shot into the back of the Chiha. Alright, so Stredny has only actually played this tank 2 times. Can you believe that they're having this kind of a game in this tank? They probably sat there and thought, yeah, you know what, it's not even that fun of a vehicle to play. Look at it literally going through the albeit medium terrain here at 8 kilometers an hour. No, I haven't slowed the replay down. This is just how quickly this vehicle is able to progress when it is on medium or soft terrain. You'd have to be an incredibly patient person to be able to sit through this. Now, Stredny is saying, AFK, question mark? Yeah, I think maybe the BT-7 artillery will be AFK. A few moments later, if I can really sit here. Now, you know what, I'm just going to speed up the game. Even going at 8 times speed now, this vehicle is going probably just about as quickly as a medium tank would, to put this into perspective. We're talking about half a minute, 1 minute past. The time is going by incredibly slowly for Stredny right now in his FCM 36 Pack 40, and he takes literally 2 minutes, or 3 minutes even, to be able to get through the valley. Now this is something that's incredibly disgusting here. Stredny has obviously figured out that the BT-7 artillery is AFK right now, and instead of firing all their rounds at the BT-7, Stredny is going to fire all of their rounds at the building behind them. And I'm just going to alt-tab for a second and take a look while Stredny is unloading their rounds at how expensive these gold rounds are. 2,800 credits, and Stredny has 13 of them. Okay, I think we can really see that Stredny wants to min-max how many medals they're going to have in this game, considering that they are literally firing out about 35,000 or more credits worth of ammunition here to be able to get themselves a Faden's medal. This is just absolutely filthy and disgusting, and one of the most forged Faden's medals I think I have ever seen. But who am I to judge? This vehicle is clearly something that shouldn't exist inside the game, and I think even Stredny agrees with the fact that they've only played it a couple of times. And you know what? I would probably leave it at that, bud, because I think you've done everything there really is to do in this FCM 36 Pack 40. I think you're a better player than this, at least with regards to the tank that you'd be capable of playing. This has to be one of the most skill-capped tanks in the game. And having only played a couple of games in it, Stredny has 2,376 average damage. Mate, leave it at that. Anyway, Stredny manages to pick up, unsurprisingly, an ace tanker here for 2,575 experience. I nearly said damage dealt. That's base experience. And 4,000 damage to the enemy team in a tier 3 tank. That would be a good game for a tier 10. That'd be a great game for a tier 10 vehicle, let alone a tier 3 tank destroyer. And Stredny clearly gets more damage than the rest of his team combined. And actually, it's close to double the damage of the rest of their team combined. And I guess they still managed to make a profit after resupplying the coffee and croissants and that filthy amount of gold rounds fired, as you expect for dealing 4,000 damage in a premium tank. So all in all, the FCM 36 Pack 40, when I look at this vehicle, for all that I love about World of Tanks, this vehicle pretty much embodies everything that I also despise about the game. Wargaming's unwillingness to actually balance premium tanks. The fact that every time one of these is sold, it's effectively making the game worse, and Wargaming should frankly just retire it from the shop at all. I don't care if it's selling $100 bundles or €100 bundles. A vehicle like this is just toxic for the game. That's why tank destroyers had their view range nerfed to begin with, and why you made adjustments to the amount of view range that open top tanks had. And also the very idea that the gameplay, even for those that purchase the tank, unless you literally want to just have almost no involvement in the game and sit there and have some kind of like point and click adventure with no thought process and no balance, must be awful as well. This might be, I think, the most disgusting vehicle inside World of Tanks, and for that, I think it has no place in the game. Anyway, ladies and gents, boys and girls, that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you hated it, give it a thumbs down. And let me know what kind of vehicles you think in the comments down below have no place inside World of Tanks and why. And as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.